Hi, my name's Cheri. Welcome to my Stampin' Up! Studio. I have the paper pumpkin for June of 2021. It's called Expressions in Color. It coordinates with the Artistically inked bundle that is in our current annual catalog. It's really pretty. That bundle is exceedingly pretty. I have an online class. I had it open and then I closed it because some of the stuff went on back order, and I'm going to open it for just a couple of days, probably tomorrow and then through the weekend, if you want to sign up to take the full online class that matches this. So some of the paper is not available for a few more weeks still, a couple of weeks. I haven't checked the dates. So I have to kind of limit the number of people, knowing that the paper I have now is enough, but thankfully I hoarded it when it first came out. So we're gonna do a couple of alternate projects with this. And then I wanted to show you, my registration is open. And so my next email that goes out, I have some extra packets. I'm gonna reopen a couple of like the video only tutorials that I have for things that were in the mini that's currently retiring. So if it was in the June mini, there's a chance the videos might be reopened. So you want to be on that email list, and then you'll find out about the Artistically inked class too. But the thing that is open right now for registration is my online summer retreat, and the bundles that we're focusing on that retreat include the What's Cooking, and you don't have to have them all. This one, we're using the diorama dies. We're not using the seascapes. But this one right here, if you see, it has the alcohol technique with blends on this one. So we're going to be doing some background alcohol techniques. And the reason I'm showing you that, like this one here is done with that, is because some of them are the ways that they got this paper. So they did the alcohol technique and then they photographed the paper. And so if you love this look, we'll be doing some of that in my retreat. The other one that we'll do is the Turtle Friends. And then after the storm, I had a memory blank there. And then this one also too has some of that, and this is the technique that we will be doing. So all of these are on my YouTube channel. So if you're interested in learning more about the retreat and seeing more about these sets, you can find all of those tutorials. Then the Artistically inked, I'm going to show you just a little bit, because when we open the kit, you're going to be able to see how they coordinate. So this is one that I made, and here's the die that comes in that bundle. Super, super pretty. And then here's the paper. And then here's one my friend made, and here's that die cut out. And then you can see how she stamped. And there's those fun kind of like blobby stamps, ink splotch stamps in there. So there's that. And then here is that paper and the diorama dies. So it's all, I love how our stuff all coordinates. So if you're interested in any of those, the information will be on my website, but the easiest way to find out all about it when I post something is to be on my email list. So here's this month's kit. I'm not going to do any of the project as is. And can I say how much I love that they have improved our instructions? And look, there's even a ruler here on the side. I love that. So I don't feel like I need to do any of this, because all you have to do is look at that and you can make the cards as is if that's what you want to do. I'm just going to do a couple of alternates, but let me show you what comes in the kit. You have your stamps, and then here's the paper and the information about the suite that it coordinates with. And mine's out of order because I kind of go through it. You get to see me create as we go. So if it turns out ugly, oh well. But I do kind of look to see what's in there to get some ideas for what other paper to have here. So we have these pretty printed vellums. And then of course all the tags. And there's some of the splotchy papers and some more printed vellum. That's a splotchy paper. And then the card bases. So you have this fun splotchy. And then these are the splotchies, and kind of what I did on one of my cards is then you make the paper and then you get the die cuts out of those, which makes really pretty fun die cuts. Here's some more card bases, some more tags. And then let's look at, do these have a pretty on the inside? No, these are just plain labels. And then it came with 2 ink spots, which is fun, the Bumblebee and the Evening Evergreen. So some two fun new colors. And then as always, your little glue things, some evergreen twine. Oh, it has sequins. I didn't see this because this has been laying upside down. And your dimensionals. All of that stuff I have. So we'll just start creating with this. So one thing I knew that I wanted to do, because this, when I started stamping in 1995, coloring on the back of vellum. Like that was one of our big things because there weren't a lot of specialty papers. So vellum was like the specialty paper, and we would stamp or emboss on one side and then we would flip it over and color on the other. So I'm going to pop this out and then I'm going to put it here, which is going to be really hard to see. Let me see, pull a different piece of paper over here because that white on white's going to be hard for you to see, me to see, and you. So there's a front and the back. You can see this is where it's a little darker where they printed it. So I'm going to flip that over. And then you can do this with our Stampin' Write markers. I have blends because I'm going to use them on the next card. So just take your brush tip. And the nice thing when you do this is you really don't have to stay in the lines because on the other side of the vellum is where the detail is. So if you go right up to, then when you flip it over, it has that fun stained glass appearance. So this is shaded spruce. Any green would work. And if you don't have the blends, you can do this with the markers because back in the day, blends did not exist, and that's how we did it. So there's those big ones. And then let's do our rose. This is magenta. This is the dark magenta madness. So just kind of swirl this on here. And I'm not going to do any blending technique with this one because I want the focus to be on that pretty stained glass. And you know, when you have a stained glass, it doesn't have shading. It's just the color of the ink on the lead. It's got that. Let's do this center right here in pink. I didn't pick very many colors. With these flowers, you could go crazy and you could have lots of colors. And then I have daffodil. This is the dark. So just get these. I'm going to keep coloring, and then on the video, it's going to speed through, but you'll be able to see the colors and me color, and then we'll catch back up. Okay, so I just had the darks and lights of those three colors. So we've got the back colored in. So now we'll flip it over and see how pretty that is. It just kind of mutes it. You don't have to be careful about being in the lines because it all just kind of pulls that up. So now I don't know what card base I want to use because I didn't know what it was going to look like. That's a little much. We may end up going for a white card base, and that's a little much. This one may work. Except it's a tad big for this one. Let's try it on here. Nope. So I'm just going to go white. Sometimes white is beautiful. So let me grab a white card base. So now we have this. Let's see how it looks on the white. Yes, isn't that pretty? And we might be able to stick that on there. Or you could take one of these. It's pretty on this one. See, it's pretty on this and it's too much on this. So you can take a paper trimmer and cut that down. But we could also do it this way. And I think that's what I'm going to do. So we're just going to take my paper trimmer. I love just creating stuff. Just like seeing how all the colors look together. So now instead of one note card, I will have 2 panels. This on here, and that makes that be really striking. So then they do have, and remember we didn't use evergreen ink, I used shaded spruce, and there is this, but let's go for something a little that brighten it up a little more. So let's see, we had the magenta. Let's pull the magenta ribbon. So I'm going to tie the ribbon around the bottom. So just tie your bow. Let's just turn this off, and then we can do the little wrap around. You always save a little bit of ribbon when you do it like this. So add your little bit of ribbon here. Flip this around. I always feel like I have a mess. When I know what I'm going to do, then I can just have those things on my table. But when I have no clue what my project's going to look like. So we have this. The nice thing also when you do it like this is you can kind of manipulate how your bow lays. So you always have a pretty bow. Let's stick this on here. And then with this, because you have that, the color on it, you just want to kind of consider where you want to put these. So I'm going to put my adhesive under these two flowers and put enough that it might darken it up a little bit. That was the light daffodil. And that'll be enough to hold it on. But that way you don't have blobs everywhere. It's just under those two. So see, it makes them a little bit darker, but because those two flowers now are the same, it kind of looks like that was the intent. So then on your stamps, where did I put mine? Let's see what words we have. We have, but let's do congratulations, because I have some graduation open houses coming up. And that goes on here. I'm just going, I'll use, what color do we want? These have an evergreen border. I think I'm gonna do black. Since this is already evergreen, I was gonna open my pad, but I think we'll just go for black. And here's if sometimes you think your stamps look crooked, lay them on the table like this and pick them up. Because when they're long like that, when I laid it on, it kind of wobbled. And that's why sometimes you might think your things are crooked. So we have our congratulations. You could stick it on with your dimensionals if you want. Just for time, I'm just going to do it like this. Kind of stick it under there because we can, because we didn't glue all that part down. And then we have these fun sequins. Look how pretty those are. They all have a little bit of a different, like there's green ones and pink ones. It's really pretty. I'm going to put one there. And the rest I'm going to add to this green because I know they'll show up really well. Here's a green one. There's like a green, an orange, a purple. They all have a little bit of a different iridescent. So how pretty is that? So there's one alternative. I'm just doing two in today's because these take a little bit longer than some of my alternatives. So there's that one. And then for this other one, I knew I wanted to use this stamp because it's really pretty. We have the blob, so I might use the blob. I might have to go get some ink color to use it. But I pulled out just a piece of scrap basic white. I'm gonna do the stamping first. Obviously, there's no die cuts for this. So we'll be doing a little bit of fussy cutting. And because I'm going to cut them out, I can put them all in here at one time. And I may decide not, that one's kind of tiny to fussy cut. Actually, I'm just going to do those two and I'm going to stamp the other ones. So you can stamp them all at once. So we have that. My window's open and there's dust blowing around in my office. I know nobody else has paper dust. So I've got those two. Let's color these in, and I'm gonna go back to the same colors of blends. That's how I chose them, was really for this card. So pull these over. Let's do the leaves first. So we'll do a tiny bit of blending on this one. So I'm gonna take my dark shade spruce and add one line in the middle of my leaves. And then take your light and just blend that around. And I'm fairly certain shaded spruce is the color that is included in that's in the paper and in the bundle. I think all of these were, and I didn't really look. It's just kind of from memory, so. But if you're trying to think, if you want to add some blends to your collection and you're interested in this suite, then these would be good ones to add. And then let's do this flower. Do we want a yellow flower with a pink center, or I think we'll do pink. So I'm going to take the dark again. And I'm just going to add some kind of stripes of this dark through the flower. So this is very basic blending. I love this magenta blend. It's so nice and bright. The darker one's the more true ink paper color, and then this light one's kind of like a 80s hot pink. And I don't care if it has a little bit of white, that is fine for some shading, so it doesn't have to be a solid color. And remember, your blends can bleed, so don't go all the way up to the edge, just let it bleed to the edge. And then let's do these down here in the yellow. I'm going to take the dark yellow. This is daffodil, put that color there. And then I'm going to do these things. They could be green, but sometimes we don't have all the colors. So if you don't have all the colors, just do that. And then let's take the light. We'll add that, and then look what happens. You can blend with this and just kind of brighten up that pink a little bit. So you can always put a lighter blend over a darker and use it for the blending. It kind of molded together and it makes that fun little bit of orange. So again, we're just doing 3 colors, but because they blend, you can do that with them. So there's those. Now I'm going to hand cut these out, and then we'll finish the card off. Okay, so we're gonna take another piece of white and cut those out, and we're just gonna do this as a 1-layer card, because we always like to have some of those in our arsenal because they're so pretty. And sometimes simple is fun, and our other one was already a little, not a lot going on, because I'm a more is more person, so that is definitely not a more is more card. But let's get this fun splotch out of our stamp set. And these, if you haven't stamped with one of these, you're in for a treat, because you can see how the ink gets on different levels. So when you stamp it, when you pull it up, look at those fun levels. And then this is shaded spruce, so it matches the color of our blend. Isn't that fun? One stamp and you get that. And you can see how it coordinates with the papers. So I'm gonna decide how I wanna lay out my card, and then those little tiny stamps that you're like, what would I ever do with those? We're gonna do something with them. Let's do our words first. And there's 2, and these kind of go together. So this says thanks for everything. So I'm going to lay these on here again, because then they'll be straight. So I'm going to stick them together like that. And that way they'll stamp like that. And then when you pick them up from your block, they're already mounted how you want them to be. So if we put this here, I don't want to cover up all the splotch, so maybe we'll go up here. Okay, so that the words can definitely go on the bottom. So let's start building from that. Let's just stick this right down here. So now we have our thanks for everything. Great font. And I am going to use some dimensionals, but I already have some, so I'm not going to use the ones out of the packet. And then let's do that's kind of fun, but we lose, I just like to see all of that. So I'm gonna go kind of up here. And that means we can put one here. I'll stick that one over here. And let's get our tiny little stamps. So we have this tiny little things here. And I'm gonna you have to kind of do them higher than what you think. Because then when you lay stuff back down, they have a tendency to get covered up. So let's do one here. So now we've added those. Those look pretty good. Now let's take this other super tiny little dots. These are tiny, tiny. I'm gonna add some of these. Now you could stamp these in a color. Oh, they're little miniature flowers. How cute is that? I didn't even really know what they were because I hadn't stamped with them yet. So now we've taken that tiny little pieces and we've kind of built it out, and it makes a really fun larger image. So don't discount your tiny little stamps. So now let's go with our, I'm gonna go light shaded spruce since this is, the darker tends to be more of the real color. I'm just gonna kind of brush on some color here. I don't know if you can hear the birds singing. It's a very happy day here. And then let's get the yellow. Do the insides of these. And then we'll just take the bullet tip and just hit the center of those little flowers. Now we've got this sitting here, so we'll go ahead and use it again. You just need a tiny little piece. We're just gonna make a little faux bow. And this is why you don't throw away the teensy tiny scraps that you may have laying around, because you can always use a teensy tiny scrap. So put a little bit of adhesive right here. Make a little boutonniere kind of thing. Stick this here. So that'll now come up out of our design. So when I'm gonna put these on here, I like to add my dimensional there. That way you know that that's sandwiched in there and it's not gonna fall out. Let's go back to add this. And if you feel you've missed anywhere before you stick it down, then just add another stamp real quick. But we also have our sequins coming up, and then that one's flat and those two are raised, so it gives it a little bit of dimension. And then where's those fabulous sequins? And this one could, you could take a little bit of that evergreen cord if you have a little scrap of it and put it up in here, and that would be really pretty too. That would kind of set that off. So now let's get 3 of these. And look how fun that is. And that's just with the stamps. So you'll be able to do this long past when your kit is gone, because it's literally just a piece of white cardstock. And then those little pieces there and scraps. And we have lots of other sequins. So if you use up your sequins, just get some more. You could add the little bumblebee. That would be really cute to this. So here's your 2 alternate projects from a really fabulous paper pumpkin. Next month is going to be great too. We're taking a totally different direction. We're going to go for a little bit more masculine, kind of summer hiking theme. So everybody have a great day. If you have any questions, let me know. The links to sign up for my email and find out about my online classes are down underneath this video. Have a great one. Bye.